Born in 114 AC in the town of Hull on the Isle of Driftmark, Addam was the son of Marilda, a shipwright's daughter known to some as Mouse because she was small, quick, and always underfoot at her father's shipyard. Only 16 years old when she birthed Addam, and just turned 18 when she had her second son Alan in 115 AC. For many years, Marilda refused to name the father of her children. By the age of 8, Addam and Alan went to sea as ship boys, and over the years grew into handsome young men with silver hair and purple eyes, said to be small and quick like Marilda. Yet while life went on as usual on Driftmark, trouble brewed on the mainland, where King Viserys Targaryen broke with tradition to name his daughter Rhaenyra heir to the Iron Throne, only to then undermine this decision when his wife died and he married young Alicent Hightower, who birthed 4 children, including 3 boys many would have preferred as successors. Though Viserys reaffirmed Rhaenyra's place as heir, a rivalry grew between the Blacks for the Targaryen princess and Greens for the Hightower queen, seeking to make her eldest son Aegon the next king. When Viserys died in 129 AC, the Greens usurped the Iron Throne, declaring Aegon king of Westeros, while on Dragonstone the Blacks crowned Rhaenyra, beginning the dance of the Dragon Civil War. In need of more dragon riders to fight for the queen, a conversation with the Fool Mushroom reminded Rhaenyra's son Jacaerys that Targaryen men likely fathered many illegitimate children with small folk, and so he announced the Sowing of the Seeds event, promising land, riches, and knighthood to anyone who successfully bonded a dragon for the Blacks. Presented with this unique, though dangerous opportunity, the Hand of the Queen and Lord of Driftmark, Corlys Velaryon, brought Addam and Alan of Hull to the event, with their mother claiming they were the illegitimate sons of Laenor Velaryon, the deceased son of the Sea Snake and first husband of the Queen. However, Laenor was known to prefer the company of men, with many even doubting his legitimate children shared his blood, as rumors suggested their true father was Sir Harwin Strong, the deceased champion of Rhaenyra. And while some accepted the official story, since Addam and Alan did indeed look like Laenor, the Fool Mushroom claimed their true father was actually Lord Corlys, who for years hid his affair and kept them away for fear of upsetting his wife Rhaenys. But with her passing and the announcement of the sowing, at last felt it was time to bring them forth and give them a chance at glory. To the delight of Corlys, his supposed grandson Addam of Hull successfully claimed the dragon Seasmoke, formerly bonded to Laenor Velaryon. However, Alan of Hull had less success, with his cloak set ablaze when he attempted to claim Sheepstealer. Though Addam put out the flames and Seasmoke drove off Sheepstealer, Alan suffered burns and permanent scars. In addition to Addam, the Blacks recruited Hardhugh Hammer, the bastard son of a blacksmith who claimed Vermithor, the alcoholic former man-at-arms Ulf the White, also called Ulf the Sot, who mounted Vermithor's mate Silverwing, and Nettles, a thin, dark-skinned 16-year-old girl who claimed Sheepstealer. Encouraged by Addam's success, Corlys, with the support of Jacaerys, convinced Rhaenyra to legitimize the brothers and make them Velaryons, allowing the Sea Snake to name Addam his successor and heir to Driftmark. Ready for combat, Addam and the other dragonseeds followed Jacaerys on Vermax to win the Battle of the Gullet, but suffered a significant blow as the Crown Prince was killed in the fighting. Distraught by the death of Jace and the carnage they witnessed, Nettles returned to Dragonstone in tears, while Addam sought out and spoke to Corlys Velaryon. However, Hugh Hammer and Ulf the White showed little consideration for the death of Jacaerys, instead sharing a drink to celebrate their victory. Prepared to press their advantage, Rhaenyra led her dragon army to King's Landing, ordering most to land, while Addam remained on Seasmoke, circling the city as a threat to any who might oppose the Queen. For his contribution to the war effort, Addam Velaryon was knighted, as were Hugh and Ulf, who were also granted small holdings on Driftmark. In 130 AC, Rhaenyra went on the offensive, sending Nettles to help her husband Daemon hunt Aegon's brother Aemond in the Riverlands, while Hugh and Ulf went to the Reach to fight the Hightower host in the First Battle of Tumbleton. Addam, meanwhile, remained to defend the Queen and King's Landing should they come under attack. Yet tragedy soon befell the Blacks when Hugh and Ulf sought greater rewards than those offered by the Queen, and so switched allegiances during the First Battle of Tumbleton, securing victory for the Greens. Unfortunately for the Hightower army, they were unable to capitalize on this victory because Hugh and Ulf refused to move forward until their demands were met, with Ulf wanting Highgarden, the capital of the Reach, and Hugh donning a crown of black iron to name himself King of Westeros. Outraged by their betrayal, many blacks started to question the loyalty of the other two dragonseeds, advising the queen to take action against them, with only Grand Maester Gerardus and Corlys Velaryon speaking in their defense. Riddled with paranoia, Rhaenyra ordered the execution of Nettles, who was still in the Riverlands, as well as the torture and interrogation of Addam Velaryon to learn the truth of his loyalty. Yet Addam was forewarned by his grandfather Corlys, and so fled upon Seasmoke, resulting in the arrest and beating of Lord Corlys, while Grand Maester Gerardus was dismissed from his position for having defended the dragonseeds. Though the singers claim Addam traveled to the Isle of Faces to seek counsel from the Green Men, who protect the island's weirwood trees, what soon became clear was that the boy was determined to prove his loyalty, and so visited every castle he could find which proclaimed loyalty to the queen and gathered an army of 4,000 men, leading them to the Reach where they launched a surprise attack on the Hightower host, remembered as the Second Battle of Tumbleton. A brutal battle that saw many killed, including Daeron Targaryen, who died in the fighting, and Hugh Hammer, who was killed by the Green Loyalist, Bold John Roxton. Addam and Seasmoke initially faced the riderless dragon Tessarion, until riderless Vermithor grew enraged by the chaos around him and flew into the air, attacking everyone on the ground. Though Addam knew Seasmoke was no match for the larger and older dragon, he could not abandon his ground forces and so attacked Vermithor, engulfing all three dragons in a terrible battle that left Addam and Seasmoke killed, while Vermithor died soon after, and Tessarion later in the afternoon put out of its misery by 3 arrows to the eye. As for Ulf the White, he was so drunk he slept through the battle, and was killed soon after by another Green Loyalist, Hobart Hightower, leaving Silverwing to depart and become a wild dragon, making her home further north on an island in the middle of Red Lake. Though it cost their leader his life, Addam's forces claimed victory and shattered the Green Army of the Reach, preventing them from threatening the capital and greatly contributing to the Black faction's eventual victory in the war that saw Rhaenyra's son Aegon III sat upon the Iron Throne. Considered a hero by his men, the young Lord Benjicott Blackwood laid Addam's corpse to rest at Raventree Hall in the Riverlands, where he remained until 138 AC, when Alan Velaryon, now the Lord of Driftmark, had his brother's bones returned to Hull and upon his tomb carved a seahorse and mouse to support the ornate letters of a single word: loyal. Looking for a new world to explore? Why not check out the Heroes of the Nine Realms series by Alex E. Martin, a longtime supporter of the channel. An exciting fantasy adventure based on Norse mythology, Seasons of Havoc, the 3rd book in the series, is now available for purchase. Continuing the epic adventure from Book 1, Fugitives of Helheim, and Book 2, The Frozen God, chaos reigns as realms collide, with dragons, undead, and giant monsters now roaming land and seas, while demons from the underworld run rampant. Broken and dying, Sigurd races toward Asgard with his godly companions who grow weaker and older by the day, facing threats older than humanity. Should he fail, the underworld's queen gets his soul, but Sigurd's struggle is only half the story. In Asgard, his lover Brynhild is forced into a bitter alliance with a young Valkyrie who has every reason to despise her. Bound by bitterness, duty, and bad blood, they're sent on an impossible mission: retrieve a powerful soul from the sea goddess to turn the tide against chaos. To survive what comes next, Sigurd and Brynhild may have to surrender the last remnants of what makes them human. Available on Amazon and Goodreads, be sure to check out this wonderfully imaginative series and dive deep into the Nine Realms. A special thanks to all those who contribute to CivilizationEx, like Warden of the X, Spectral Knight, Lord Commander of the Eternal Legion, Sir Loin, Werebear of the Great North, Sir Elendil of Numenor, and Javenia Targaryen. If you'd like to help the channel, be sure to give a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and click on the links below, or else go to patreon.com/CivilizationEx, where you can gain early access to videos and watch the Patreon-only series, Heroes of Lore and Legend.